Dearest listeners,
Book babes and book bros.
welcome to Book Babble. I'm Rachel,
And I'm Tanya. We're the Witlet Women, your hosts for the day.
and today we have Jacklyn Parker with us. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Jacklyn Parker. I am a cozy dark romance author, and I like to put a spin on your typical dark romances.
Well, Jacqueline, we are so happy to have you on today, and we're excited to get ready for your babble or get into your babble. Are you ready to babble?
I am so ready.
All right, I'm putting 5 minutes on the clock right now.
So, first off, can you tell us a little bit more about your book?
So I went to a male review show and got an inspiration of I want to see this in a book. I want my intrusive thoughts to be out in the open of how I wish the show actually went and ended. So that's where I came into the Men Under Review series and the first book of the Bloke, which is actually inspired by Thunder from Down Under.
Ooh, I love that. So, how much research goes into that? So, you said you went to a show, but what else did you do to come up with that idea?
So it started with one show, actually two, and then I just got back from another research trip where I did go all the way out to Vegas to actually watch all the shows again. And I mean all the shows, as in I also went to Magic Mike because for me, I like to immerse my readers in the experience of the show if they've never been to or if they even have. So by knowing what it's like to be at the show, to experience everything that goes on, I can really put that into words and put my readers in that position. As far as the intimate experiences and all of that, I mean, it's kind of just life. All of my characters, especially my FMCs, I put a little bit of me in them, a little bit of things that I've gone through my life, and put that personal growth there. I use it as almost a therapeutic writing experience for me to show my own personal growth as I've gone through my life.
That sounds like a fun research experience.
So, taking it back a little bit, we've talked a little bit about what inspired this series. What inspired you to be an author?
Reading. I hit a turning point in my life when my son turned one, and I decided that I needed to do some changes. So, a lot of that came from body, mind, and soul. And so, hitting the mind point, I decided to get rid of all my TV subscriptions, went straight headfirst into reading. The first book I picked up was obviously A Court of Thorns and Roses. And it spiraled out of control from there. I became really addicted to it. And then after about 2 months into my reading journey, I ended up reading almost 20 books a month. And then I started getting into
Wow.
ARC reading. And I loved how these authors were able to create these stories, create feelings, make me cry. And I couldn't believe it because I mean, I've cried during movies, but I've never cried reading a book. And I I've always been taken away with how authors can create memories and like that. I mean, I still have books stuck in my head from when I first started reading that I absolutely adore. And so after that, I was just sitting down and I'm like, I want to try to do something like this. And so after I went on a business trip, an actual business trip to Vegas, ended up going to one of those shows, I kind of just the inspiration hit me and I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna rip off the Band-Aid and I'm gonna do it. So and that actually started June of last year was when I started writing.
That is
Wow.
beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I love that you started at the same point so many other people did because like ACOTAR got me back into reading
Mhm.
after a while. So that's amazing. Um, so you mentioned that you put some of yourself into each of your characters. Is there one specific character that you connect with and identify more than the others?
I would say Madison from the Mill City series, and she is the star of the third book, which comes out on June 6th, and that is Asphyxia. Um, Her story in that while it's more blown up versus what actually happened, I went through a toxic relationship similar to hers and same path, same just controlling manipulation. And it was really hard for me to write that book, but in the end, I felt like I had closure. I felt like I was able to work through everything I had been through, even though it was a little over exaggerated. I mean, the idea was still there. And it hits that one point of where a lot of people say, "Why did you stay?" That book tells you exactly why women stay, why it's hard to say, "Why don't you just leave? You can leave." And sometimes, I mean, you really can't.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I speak for other people who have also experienced relationships like that. Like it is really difficult to leave. So I understand like 100% where you're coming from.
In my other life, I'm a therapist and I do a lot of trauma work, and that sounds like such a healing story to be able to not just write that, but to be a reader for that too. So I think that's really awesome. 9 seconds left, so I'm not going to ask the next question until after this timer goes off.
Well, yes. So, Jacqueline, congratulations. You made it through the entire 5-minute AMA with just a couple of seconds to spare. So we'll put the AMA on our social channels, and then the full episode will be on our YouTube and Spotify. So we're just gonna keep chatting.
All right.
I just lost my train of thought. So Rachel, go ahead and ask what you were gonna
Yeah.
say.
So so with all of the like the dark romance kind of stuff that you've got going on and some of that being experiential things that you've gone through, what do you do to take care of yourself? It's like being a mom and an author, it's gonna be a lot to juggle.
It's chaotic. I like to say that I thrive off of caffeine and chaos every single day. So it's taking that energy drink in the morning, and then I've got my kids, and I have a full-time job as well as I do full-time writing, and then I've got my kids. So it's a lot to balance, but honestly, I kind of thrive off of it. I've always been this kind of like control freak. I'm a workaholic, big workaholic. So, keeping myself busy, the writing really keeps me busy and lets my brain keep working. That's for me. A lot of people would say that's a lot of work, but for me, the writing aspect is my break. That's my quiet time.
I love that because like I personally identify with that a lot. I'm a workaholic. Like I have my day job. I do our Witlet women stuff in the book Babble, but I also just opened up like my own book PR company with my friend Kim, and it has been amazing just like helping all of these indie authors get more exposure, creating teams for them. And I love hearing that there are also authors who are like that. There is like, much of a workaholic as I am. So thank you personally for also being like that because I don't know. I just feel kindred now.
Well, I try so hard to take breaks, and I've said like, "Oh, I finished this book. I'm going to take like a month off. I'm just going to relax." And then like a week later, I'm already starting the next book. It's hard to stop.
Yeah.
Like I said, it doesn't feel like a job. It doesn't feel like work. I enjoy it, and so it's so hard for me to take the actual break. So I know a burnout is coming for me. It's like right there, right behind me, a shadow, but I've escaped it so far.
It's so hard to give yourself a break though when you feel so passionately about these things, especially when you're drawing inspiration from your own life and making it therapeutic the way you are. So like I get it. I understand. So we have a couple of minutes left. Was there anything, Jacqueline, that you wanted to discuss with your readers, or I wanted to open the floor for you?
More so just I've just spiraled out of control recently. I figured out that Canva has a storyboard or like a whiteboard application.
Yeah.
So now my universe of interconnected series has become a actually like visual perspective for me. It has become chaotic to the point where the Men Under Review series has, as of right now, established 18 books in total. So
Wow.
that's not including the three for this year and then the three planned on next year. That's outside of that. So 18 in total with those. I have the Mill City series was supposed to finish with this book, Asphyxia. That one has added another three books. And I think I'm gonna write and release the next book in that series, the fourth one, next year. I haven't 100% decided on it, but I can say that that's gonna upset a lot of people when that drops. I have a video ready to promote that one because I have a feeling I'm gonna have a lot of people in my DMs. Um, we've got three audiobooks coming up this year, two duet or three, all three are duets. Two of them are already going through recording. The third one, I'm not 100% sure if it's going to release the same day as the book, but that's my intention is to hopefully do that. I don't like putting myself on deadlines. That's why I like the freedom of being an indie author. I can just write on a whim and decide when I want a book to come out, if I want to schedule it. Deadlines, I think, are what are going to make me not like writing anymore because then I'm feeling pressured and I just want
Hmm.
to flow.
Yeah.
Um, but then also the Men Under Review series is also going to have a second gen, and I do have the first two books of second gen ready.
Wow, I love that they're all interconnected too.
Yes.
Um, I remembered what I wanted to ask you. So, how do you come up with the names of your books? Like, I was looking through all of them that you sent us because I unfortunately haven't gotten to read all your entire collection yet. But like, they're so interesting. They're so intriguing. How do you come up with them?
So here's the funny story we'll start off with Ataraxia because that was actually that was the catalyst for the entire series and how I wanted to have every book in that series start and end with the letter A, and that's how you can kind of tell. Um, but so Ataraxia, and again, it's not the sword from was it A Court of Silver Flames? I figured that out after I had named it. Someone called it out, and I was just like, I barely remember reading that in the book, but you're right. So Ataraxia was supposed to be originally called The Sweet and Awful Things. That was the original name I had for the book. I had finished writing it. I needed a name for the drug that's used in that book, and I needed something that had meaning behind it and would pack a punch. So then I was Googling like tranquility, serenity, like things like that to kind of just find a word. That's where I found the word ataraxia. And so then I put that in the book. And when it came to the end, I had to create my cover. And so I was going through a cover artist. I'm like, okay, I need to figure out a name for this book. And all of a sudden I'm just thinking, I'm like, well, if this book relates around this drug, maybe I can just name it one thing instead of I felt like I was setting myself up to get some pretty nasty comments if I called it These Sweet and Awful Things because it's my first book, my debut. I'm thinking worst case scenario, people are going to be like, this was an awful book, like labeling the word awful. So, um, at the end of the day, I went with Ataraxia, and I'm so glad I did. And so then when I came up with the second book, I didn't have a name right away. I started thinking about it was going to be enemies to lovers. So I'm looking up words. I'm thinking like enemies to lovers, a word that starts and ends with A, that's not used very frequently, a very like kind of out there word. Found the word anathema. And originally for that book, it was supposed to be relating to the relationship between Alexis and Derek. The like a person that's despised and hated, enemies to lovers, hate to love. Didn't think that it was going to end up being a secret society that pops up. So that was really cool too. Asphyxia, I mean, that was a no-brainer. After I had the first two books, Asphyxia fit perfectly with the ideas that surrounded that book of drowning and just being smothered by both attention and like the suffocation of manipulative relationships and how that feels on a person, but as well as suffocation in a good way when it comes to the fact it's an MFM romance.
Wow, there was like that. You put a lot of thought into your book titles. That's impressive.
I wanted everything to have meaning. And that
Yeah.
is the one thing that while yes, I write dark romance, yes, I write smut, there's a lot of spice in my books, but it's not the forefront. I went into it thinking that that's the way I wanted to do things. I wanted to write a smutty book that people would really love to read. And then along the way, I realized that it was becoming more than that. It was becoming an outlet for me personally to get my trauma out, to actually not sit there and be in the bubble, lock everything up in a jar and hide it in a closet because that's what I've done my entire life. That's what it's always been. I've just bottled everything up. And as I wrote the first book, the second book, and the pieces of me started falling into place with every book I wrote, every FFMC I wrote, um, I realized just how much more plot was involved, how much more story and meaning to the stories was there. When I finished at Asphyxia, and I finished writing the last two epilogues of that book, I cried a lot. And even now, talking about it, I get really like weepy because, and even talking to my editor when I was telling her, I have this for you. Here you go. It's done. It's ready. Um, it was an emotional roller coaster to finish that
Yeah.
entire series, knowing that it was incredibly healing to go through all those characters.
I'm gonna
Um,
sympathy cry with you. I'm sorry.
it's okay. I get really emotional, and it's sometimes I kind of feel like I'm being silly with how emotional I get over it.
Not at all.
But these stories, they mean a lot to me. Someone might read them and say that they're healing, or that I mean, you get the bad reviews or people just like, this is funny, this is like whatever. Um, I wrote the books for me, and I'm glad that I'm able to share them with everyone so that everyone can see my story in different light.
Yeah.
And that's why all my FMCs will always be strong. Um, I don't like writing FMCs that are kind of like pushovers. I mean, it's all about growth. So, yep, while the FMCs might start off as being a little bit iffy and you're just like, I don't know, the growth is there. You'll see how they go from being one kind of way all the way to being strong and as just equal to their partner in the books.
Well, I can tell just from speaking with you here for the last, 15-ish minutes that you have put so much of yourself into these books and you are so passionate about it. And I hope that anyone who watches this picks up one of your books because, like, how can you not after seeing and hearing this? Like,
It just
having someone
sounds so
put,
empowering. Yeah.
yes, you have put so much of yourself in there and out there. And I hope that people find your books and they read them and enjoy them, even if they are dark romance. Like, there is so much of a healing power that people don't understand about dark romance. It usually has like a negative connotation to it, but like I read it, it's one of my favorite things. It's one of my favorite genres because of that healing aspect. So I truly do hope that so many more people find your books and they see your healing and your growth and they feel it for themselves too.
That's the one thing I hope. I mean, there is a lot of backlash on the dark romance genre of people saying that it's messed up and everything else under the sun. But um, I mean, and it really depends. I'd say it's a very broad genre. There are
Mhm.
books that are made for entertainment. There are books that are made for the healing aspect. It's a big umbrella, but I wouldn't want to be under a smaller one. I love the umbrella of dark romance. I
Yeah.
love the variety it brings. I love that you can mood read in dark romance alone. You don't even need to be like, "Oh, I want to do fantasy. I want to do contemporary." Like just the umbrella of dark romance alone, you could mood read everything
Yes.
under the sun. So it's really a really great genre to be a part of. And I've met so many authors that are just absolutely fantastic to talk to. Um, Even seeing that they're all healing through their traumas through their books, it really is empowering. It's an empowering genre, and I think it's very underestimated.
Agreed. 100%. I am behind you on that 100%. I can't even I can't even make a full sentence right now because I just like I wholeheartedly believe in what you just said. Um, all right, so we are just about out of time, but I do just want to say again, thank you, Jacqueline, especially for sharing your journey with us. It's not an easy thing to do, but we appreciate it. And we will do everything we can to help people reach your books. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. I love being on these interviews. I love talking to people. I love talking about my books. So thank you so much for having me.
Of course, and I mean you have, over 18 more to come, so we'll likely talk to you again.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you so much, Jacqueline. Have a great day.
Thank you, you as well.
Thanks. Bye.